screen. Those who are attending in online, please confirm to me, guys. All of you get my voice on screen. Those who are attending in online. Guys, please confirm to me. All of you get my voice on screen. Those who are attending in online. Yes. Right, sir. Then what we are discussing there? Any idea what exactly the content here we are discussing, guys? What content here we are discussing there? I think so. We are discussing about granularity mismatch. That means mismatches here we are discussing there. Requirement of ORM here we are understanding. In enterprise applications, we are able to use two data models: object-oriented data model and relational data model. Both the data models are having difference in their conventions of representing data. The differences will make data persistence is difficult. So to overcome this problem here, we have to go for ORM. That's the point here. Next one is, what are the in general, what are the various mismatches which are available between object-oriented data model and relational data model, where granularity mismatch, subtypes mismatch, associations mismatch, identity mismatch. Where granularity mismatch here we understood clearly, and subtypes mismatch also here we understood clearly. There I shown clearly some diagrams here, subtypes mismatch here we understood. This is like what I'm telling there. Subtypes mismatch here we are discussing there, but I have not given any information about it no regarding this. Okay. Alright guys, now observe carefully. So what exactly the points here I'm telling there about this subtypes mismatch in Java, in order to improve reusability or in order to improve shareability, whatever it may be, some reasons why we are able to utilize like what they inheritance concept here. We are able to define some inheritance relation between classes for the sake of reusability point of view, for the sake of some other conventions. Finally, in Java, we are able to provide like what their inheritance. Okay, fine. So what the related concept here, we are able to implement a database side now. Here three approaches are available. What are the three approaches are available here now? One is like what there, all the classes, the fields are going to be maintained in a single table. Either we can use a single table for the entire inheritance architecture. And next one is, second approach is what there, maintain some subclasses for each and every some table, a separate table for each and every subclass. No, the subclass including like what there, superclass data and subclass data like this. Then two different tables here we are able to manage. Or for each and every class we are going to maintain what there, a separate table. Then we are going to define like what there, primary key, foreign key relationship between these. No, in this way we are able to implement the inheritance related concept of Java into like what there, into the total like what I'm telling there, relational data model. Right, sir. All right, sir. Then after that, after completion of this, what next one here? So here the point is what there, in object orientation, whenever we are calling save of student and save of EMP, in general in object orientation we are going to create objects for subclasses only, not for superclass. No, but whenever we are creating object for subclass there, and whenever we are storing that object into the database, no, then how data has to be distributed, which model is going to be utilized there, in the respective models how data has to be distributed over the properties. Now there to distribute the data over the properties and which model we are using, and to distribute the data over the tables there, over the columns and tables there we need to go for like what there, ORM, object relational mapping here we have to use. And one of the implementation of ORM is what there, Hibernate has provided three solutions for it. Hibernate has provided what the three solutions. What are the three solutions here? First one is table for class hierarchy, table for concrete class, and third one is like what there, table for some classes here we are getting. This is what exactly the meaning here we can understand now. Guys, all of you are getting my points clearly? Now observe carefully. Subtypes mismatch. That's a point here. Now let me have some points here. Few points here I want to provide here. Okay, guys, understand this. Some few points here I want to provide now. Right, sir. Right. Now let's observe carefully. In general, in Java applications, that means in object orientation, I'm telling there, in object orientation, in Java applications, no problem. Java applications, we are able to, in general, in Java applications, we are able to, what we are able to do, guys, now tell me, we are able to use inheritance to improve code reusability. Fine. Code reusability. Right. In data model, relational data model, we are able to achieve the above in multiple ways. What are the multiple ways? You know, here we can understand. First one is like what there. Prepare single table for all the variables, for all the fields of classes which are in inheritance. Okay. All right. So next one is like what? Then apart from this, second one is what there. Prepare separate class. Prepare separate class. Separate class for each and every subclass contains superclass contains both superclass properties and subclass properties. Right, sir. Both superclass properties and as well as what they know subclass properties. This is another one again. Last one, third one is like what I'm telling to you. Observe carefully. Prepare separate table for both superclass and subclasses with primary key, foreign key, relationships. All right, yes. These are the three alternatives are available in the case of like what there. What change is required here in the case of the second one? You know, prepare separate class for each and every. Prepare separate table. Right. Create separate table for each and every class. For each and every class contains for each and every subclass. For each and every subclass contains both superclass properties and subclass properties. Nice. Right. I think the other changes only, right? Right, yes. Then after that, if the point is like what there in Java applications, if we create objects for subclasses and if we save subclass objects, if we create objects for subclasses and if we save subclass objects, then data must be stored into the database tables. The data must be stored into the database tables. If we say subclass objects, no, then data must be stored into the database tables like database table. What I'm telling there. Then how? If we say that both the objects, then how data will be stored? How data will be stored in the fields and the database stored in the database tables and fields. Here to distribute data to the tables we need mapping between object oriented data model provided inheritance and relational data model provided approaches. For this we have to use ORM. ORM For this we have to use ORM where we are able to use Hibernate. Right. Here that another point here I'm telling there, Hibernate for the above situation. For the above mapping, Hibernate has provided. For the above mapping, Hibernate has provided the following solutions. What solutions here Hibernate has provided there now? Guys, we have to understand it. The first one, what is the first solution here? In the diagram, it is very clear, no? Table for class hierarchy. Table for class hierarchy. And the second one is what they know? Table for concrete class. Table for concrete class. Table for concrete class. And third one is like what there? Table for subclass. Table for subclass. Right, yes. The other solutions are provided here. We can understand clearly. Okay, this is a requirement of the ORM. But what is going to be happen? How we are going to provide table for class hierarchy, table for concrete class, and table for subclass to provide all these things. Now, here we need to go for somewhat feature concepts here. We are going to understand. In a Hibernate mappings, we are going to understand all these points here. Not immediately. In a Hibernate mapping, we are able to provide all these concepts. Yes, guys, all of you are getting clarity in this point. No, what I'm telling to you. This is like what I'm telling you. Inheritance mapping. This is exactly like what the inheritance mapping or subtypes mismatch. Here we are addressing the point here. Subtypes mismatch here we are addressing there. Then how we are able to provide solution for this subtypes mismatch also here we are providing there clearly. Right, sir. Then what about this third one, guys? Now observe carefully. What this third one here we are getting there now. The third one is very simple. Associations mismatch. Third one is like what I'm telling there. Associations mismatch. What exactly this associations mismatch here? Alright, sir. How we are able to implement these associations and all. See, already in Java, there are two types of relationships. Has a relation and is a relation. Inheritance is represented through is a relationship, but has a relationship is representing what their associations only. Understand my point here? Right, so now I'm telling there, what is the requirement of these associations? Now, in Java applications, to provide communication between entity classes and to provide data navigation from one entity class to another entity class and to improve reusability and improve what their reusability. We have to use associations in Java. Guys, then are you getting this point now? Tell me. In Java applications, what's the requirement to go for associations? Are you getting these points here? Java applications to provide communication between entity classes and to provide data navigation from one entity class to another entity class and to improve reusability, code reusability. We have to use what their associations. 1 minute here. Right. There we are getting like what their associations in Java. Understand it, guys? What I'm telling them. Okay, fine. How many associations are available in Java? In a Java applications, we are able to provide the following four types of associations. What are the four types of associations here we are able to provide there? Alright, guys. Now observe carefully. The four types of associations would be, first one is like what there, one to one association. Second one is one to many association. Third one is many to one association, and the fourth one is many to many association. Right, sir. Understand this clearly. Overall, how many types of associations are existed here? Four types of associations are existed. One to one association, one to many association, many to one association, many to many associations. Overall, here we are getting like what there? Four types of associations here we are getting. Guys, all of you observe carefully. Alright, good, nice. Then after that, after completion of this, all the associations. No, next one. Listen carefully, guys. How we are able to achieve the same thing in the case of relational data model? In object orientation here we are having these many things now, but how we are able to achieve the same thing in the case of this relational data model? Right, sir. We are able to achieve the above associations in a relational data model. We are able to achieve the same associations in relational data model in the following two approaches. Right, sir. What are the various approaches here we are able to take there? All right, one is by using join column, and second one is like what there, by using join table. Okay, by using join table and by using join column, by using join table with primary key foreign key relationships. In these two ways here we are able to achieve the data. All right, so understand it clearly. Okay. Now both the mechanisms, both object orientation data model and object oriented data model and relational data model, both are having their own representations for representing data. Okay, understand it clearly. When both are having their own representations now, then how data persistence is going to be achieved here in this context now? How it is possible to achieve data persistence here in this particular context? Is it possible to provide data persistence in effective manner? Right, sir. As for the above, as per the above, both object oriented data model and relational data model are having difference in their associations representation. So it will make data persistency, is difficult. Data persistence is difficult. All right, so now here exactly in this particular scenario, to overcome, to improve data persistence, in the above context, we have to use ORM. We have to use what there? ORM, that is Hibernate. That is what there? Hibernate. Right, sir. Here, Hibernate has provided associations mapping Hibernate has provided associations mapping to overcome the above problem. Right guys, now theoretically I given that all the points here, but now I need to go for like what there practical view here. I need to be specified there now. Right sir. Now let's observe this clearly. Practically how it is going to be happen here. Through a diagram here I want to show that. Now try to understand it. Guys, all of you observe carefully. This point here we need to understand clearly. Try to observe this. For example, here I want to take like what there one class here I want to take. What class here I want to take now? Say for example, class course I'm taking there. Okay, then class course where some properties are existed inside this class course. What properties are available here now? Say for example, string course ID, string course name, int course cost. Status and getters are available. That's okay. That's different. Leave it. Next one. After that, I want to take like what their class student. Inside the student class, string student ID, string student name, and string student address. Guys, observe carefully here. Single student may join with how many courses now? Single student may join with how many courses, guys? Now tell me. Any idea? Observe carefully, guys. Single student may join with how many courses now? Is that only one course or many courses now? Everybody must give response for it. Single student may join with how many courses now? Multiple courses. Multiple courses. If single student is joined with multiple courses now, here that multiple courses here we have to represent in student class. To represent this multiple courses here, either we can take collection or we can take like what their array of these courses. Either we can take collection or we have to take like what their courses array. Right, sir. Anyway, then whatever it may be, now we are not getting much importance of this particular one here. Understand it clearly. Right now, this is like what I'm telling to you is a relational data model. Sorry, object-oriented data model. Just classes here we created. Fine, nice. Now here, how these two are represented into a relational data model? How these associations is represented data model? In two ways here we are able to represent data model. Right, sir. In two ways here we are able to represent what their data model. What are the two ways? Can you observe carefully? Through join column first. Here, first of all, here I want to take a student table. First of all, I want to take like what there student table. In a student table, what data here we have to represent there? In a student table, SID, SName, SADDR. Okay, observe carefully. Right, sir. SID, SName, and SADDR. This data is existed now. Next one after that, this is like what I'm telling here student table. Similarly, here I need to take like what their course table. Inside this course table, what data here I have to provide there? Data must be provided like where we are able to provide the data. Observe carefully. Right. Then here what we are able to provide there. Now here we need to provide like what there course ID, then course name, course cost. Here at the same time I have to define like what their student ID. There's a link between these two now. Okay, multiple courses might be J&K. Right, sir. Okay, fine. Now this is achieved here. Now try to understand this clearly. This is okay. Then after completion of this, then what next one here? This is one approach. This is approach number one. Similarly, here we are going to use like what there approach number two. What is that approach number two? No. Here we are going to prepare student table. Now this is like what there SID, S name, SID here. Okay. Now here we are going to take course table, course ID, course name, course cost. Both the tables are existed here. Alright. Here we can understand clearly. Okay. Now here we are going to provide like what there some giant table here we are able to provide. Now this is I'm telling to you student. This is I'm telling to you like what their course. By taking both the primary keys, we are going to prepare a separate table. The table is like what I'm telling to you. In the table here, we are able to provide like what there both the tables primary key here we are going to take. Both the tables primary keys. Now this is like what there SID or maybe no problem here CID. Then what next one here SID. Now this table name we can provide anything. Any name. This is giant table student course. Okay. In the first approach here we had some relationship here primary key and foreign key. Now here in this approach also here we need to have primary key foreign key relationship both are existed here in this way. Here we are able to provide both no primary key foreign key relationship. Okay. Right. In this case, what I am telling to you, for example, now in object orientation side, now inside this, if I create object one to many, actually student is one and the course is many side. No. First of all, I'll create object like this. This is like single student object. SID is equal to S111, S name is equal to AAA, SID is equal to I divide. Now here we are having like what their courses. Now these courses are available in the form of like what they're multiple. That means here we need to have what they know one array. 3 courses objects here I'm going to prepare. For example, this is course array. Now here we are able to have 3 objects. Three course objects we are able to have. Okay. What are the 3 courses objects here? Observe carefully. For example, first course object C1, course name is equal to Java. Course name is equal to C. Course cost is equal to, say for example, 5,000. Similarly, another course category. Course ID is equal to C2 and course name is equal to CPP and course cost is equal to 10,000. Okay. Then after that, what next one here? Course ID is equal to C3. Course name is equal to Java. Course cost is equal to 20,000. Like these objects can be created, no? Courses is representing this particular array. Each and every index of this array here is representing like what there, this particular one. Guys, observe carefully what I'm telling to you. Yes, all of you are getting clarity up to now. Guys, please confirm to me. All of you are getting up to this point here. How we are able to represent the date, both the data. Now here I'm telling to you. Now try to observe this clearly. When I call save of a student, when I call save of student, how data has to be represented here? For example, if you take first approach now, if you take first approach, in first approach, if we take first approach at a relational data model, how data has to be stored here? Student data. S111, student name AAA, student address is like what there, Hyderabad. Single student object. But how many courses have to be stored here? No, 3 courses have to be stored. What are the 3 courses here now? C1, course name, cost is 5,000. SID is what there, which student has stored here now? S111. Right, sir. Next one. C2, CPP, 10,000, S11. Okay. Now third course here. C3, Java, 20,000. S111. In this way, the data will be distributed if you use like what their first approach. If you use first approach, in this way the data is going to be represented. Okay, understand it now. But if you take second approach now, how data is going to be represented here now? First, student data. Only one student is existed here, the data will be stored. S111, AAA, Hyderabad. Right, sir. But how many courses are available here? 3 courses are available. Out of these 3 courses, and all 3 courses data will be stored here. C1, C. Then what next one here? No? Then what next one here? Half of this. Here we are able to use like what there 5,000. Now C2, CPP 10,000. Next one is C3, Java 20,000. This data might be existed here. But now here inside this, then what we are able to provide there, the content now C1, C2, then what next one here? C3. Here we are providing these 3 things, no? But for all C1, S11 only. For C2 also S11 only. For C3 also what they know? S111. For all here what we are able to get there? S11 only. That means 3 courses are joined with what they know? Single student. Single student has joined with 3 courses now. Observe carefully, all of you guys. But here my question is, when we say student object, student data will be stored in student table and course data will be stored in a courses object. How data has to be distributed in this way? This is what we require. But how data is going to be distributed here? How student data will be stored in student table? How courses data will be stored in course table? And how CID and course ID, SID data will be stored in the join table and in the join column. Then how it is going to be happen? This is the question here. How it is possible here? Guys, all of you get my point or not? How it is possible? Right, exactly. To achieve this particular one, here we required what we required here now in the middle. Here we required ORM. Here what we required here now ORM is required. One of the ORM implementation is like what they know, HIBERNATE. One of the ORM implementation is what there, HIBERNATE. Understand this. Okay, one of the ORM implementation is what there, HIBERNATE. Then after that, after understanding this, one of the ORM implementation HIBERNATE, no. What next one here? Observe carefully. Where we need to go for a mapping here. This mapping is like what there, one to many mapping. A separate mapping style is available. Separate concept is available. One to many mapping. That one to many mapping is going to be available. That's it. Now in this way here we are able to achieve one to many mapping. But exactly that mapping details here we are going to understand in the respective location. The mapping details here we are going to understand like what they know in the respective locations, not immediately. But this is like what their associations mapping. Associations mapping. Observe carefully. Now it is completed, guys. Associations mapping here we completed. No, observe carefully. But whenever we are getting associations mapping, what next one? Okay. All right, sir. This is about associations mapping. Guys, now let's come for this next one here. What about this next one here? No, identity mismatch. What is this identity mismatch? That we have to understand. Observe carefully. Guys, everybody understand this. What is the meaning of this identity mismatch now? Guys, I'm asking one question to all of you. Now try to answer for it. In Java, are we able to check whether two objects are same or not? In Java, how it is possible to check whether two objects are equal or not? By using what we are able to check whether two objects are same or not. Come on, guys, we have to answer for it. In a Java applications, to check whether two objects are same or not, we will use either double equals operator or equals method. Okay, now this is a point here we have to understand. We have to use like this. Okay, fine. Now tell me how it is possible to check two records are equal or not in a relational data model. Come on, guys, now tell me. Using primary key. Okay, you are thinking about primary key. Is it possible to duplicate primary key value? The two records are going to have same primary key. Is it right? Is it possible to have same primary key value for both the records, for two records? No. No. Then how? How it is possible? That is my question now. Right, sir. In general, in a relational data model, every record must have primary key. Every record must have what they know, primary key. It must be unique. It must be what they're unique and not null. Am I right or not? It must be what they're unique and not null. Guys, observe this clearly. What I'm telling there, it must be what they're unique and not null. Clear? Okay, fine. So it is not possible to manage same records. It's not possible to manage same record more than one time. Then there is no question of checking whether two records are same or not. Guys, am I right or not? It is not possible to manage same records more than one time. Then there is no question of checking whether two records are same or not. Understand it here. But in a relational data model, it is achieved here. But in object-oriented data model, it is not achieved here. Am I right or not? It is not possible here. Two records are same or not. There is no concept like this. Again here, data mismatch is available or not? Mismatch is available between both the models or not? Here, what happened there? No, the above situations are specifying clearly both the data models. Above situations are specifying clearly both the data models are having difference in checking equal objects, equal entities. So it will reduce data persistence in enterprise applications. Right, yes, understand my point here now. Okay, it will reduce data persistence in enterprise applications. Right, sir. But how ORM is going to provide this? Where it able to manage something? ORM is providing The solution in a different way in the sense just it is identifying which objects are same, no, then that is going to be mapped with a single record here. If two objects are coming there, duplicate objects are coming there, then it able to provide like what there a differentiation here now. That means it able to represent like what there the respective record, single record only. It able to map the duplicates with the single record only. Their ORM is providing the solution here now. Right, sir. In the above context, ORM is providing solution to refer more than one duplicate with a single record. And that kind of things are going to be happening here. That ORM is providing solution for it. But what solution is providing there, that doesn't matter for us clearly. This is what exactly the meaning of like what there ORM. Then how we are able to achieve data persistency through ORM. What is the need of the ORM here? We understood. Guys, I'm asking one question finally to you. Now tell me your answer here. What is the requirement to go for ORM now? Right, sir. Right, sir. What is the requirement to go for this ORM here now? Come on, guys. I'm asking this question to you. What is the requirement to go for ORM here now? The main requirement to go for ORM is the main requirement to go for ORM is to resolve mismatches between both object-oriented data model and relational data model in order to improve persistence, in order to improve data persistence. To improve data persistence only, we are going to use what there? ORM. Okay. Right, guys. Now this is what exactly the requirement here we can understand now. Okay, fine. Now again I want to talk about this ORM definition. What is that ORM definition here? ORM is a set of rules and regulations. ORM is what the set of rules and regulations to provide mapping between object-oriented data models, object-oriented data model, and relational data model, relational data model, relational data model, in order to improve data persistence by providing data persistence by providing either by using XML document or by using annotations. Right. This is what exactly the meaning of like what there ORM. Right, sir. One more point I'm telling there. ORM is what their set of rules and regulations are guidelines. ORM is like what their set of rules and regulations are what their guidelines. ORM is what their set of rules and regulations are guidelines. Okay, fine. But these guidelines are implemented in the form of some third-party products. ORM rules and regulations are implemented by some third-party organizations, in the form of the following products. That means in the form of some tools. What are the various tools here? First one is what there entity beans from Sun Microsystems. Java beans entity beans, and second one is like what there Hibernate, and third one is like what there JPA, and fourth one is like what there Top Link, and fifth one is like what there Open JPA, IBAT is, and so on. So many things are existed here. These are all like what they're ORM implementation tools only. ORM implementation tools only. Understand, guys, what I'm telling there? Okay, so many things are available, not even like a single one. So many things are existed here. Right, fine. Next one is after that, after completion of this. Now here I have a question now. What about my coaching here? Simply at our basic level here, we have to understand what about my coaching here. Understand, guys, what I'm telling here. What are the differences between entity beans and Hibernate? That means already we have entity beans. Then what is the requirement to go for Hibernate? This is my question. Guys, all of you are getting clarity on this, what I'm asking there, no? Already we have entity beans, then what is the requirement to go for Hibernate? This is my question. Okay, another question. What are the differences between JP and Hibernate? What exactly the differences are available between JP and Hibernate? This one also here we have to understand, guys. Okay, guys, any idea? Can you tell me something about this one? Any idea? I will give some information, some content here. Now try to understand it. No. Very first point here, I'm telling to you. EJBs, entity beans, are heavyweight, but Hibernate is lightweight. EJBs, entity beans is like what they're heavyweight, but whereas Hibernate is what they're lightweight. Why, sir? Why it is now? Number of reasons are available. What are the various reasons are available here? One simple example I'm telling that. If you want to execute EJBs, entity beans, server is required or not? Application server is required or not, guys? Now tell me. If you want to execute entity beans, no, application server is required or not? Definitely, application server is required. Without application server, we are unable to execute it. Without application server, we are unable to execute it. But Hibernate programs we can execute without a application server. In a standalone way also we are able to execute. This is one reason here. Next one, if you want to perform any operation with entity beans, no, so many objects are going to be created internally. So many session objects are going to be created internally. So many associated objects are created internally. But in the case of Hibernate, not required to create too much. Less number of objects only here we are able, but we are able to create it now. But less number of objects only here we are able to create. Guys, understand this clearly what I'm telling you. Okay, this is what exactly the meaning of heavyweight and lightweight. Hybrid is somewhat lightweight, but whereas EJBC is what they know, heavyweight. Another way also we can specify that. Anyway, in the next one here I'm telling to you. Another point is like what there. EJBs is more API dependent, but Hibernate is what they know. Hibernate is less API dependent. Why? Because if you want to prepare an entity bean, no, we need to use too much predefined library like entity bean interface or maybe home interface or something else, session interface. Like so many interfaces here we have to implement, and so many methods here we have to implement. There is some life cycle, specific life cycle. But in the case of Hibernate, we are using POSO classes. Guys, can you tell me what is this POSO classes now? What's the meaning of POSO class here? In Spring itself, we covered this point here. Meaning of this POSO class. Java bean only. But inside the Java bean, one type is what there POSO. What's the meaning of this POSO class now? It should not extend or implement any predefined library. It should not implement or extend any predefined library. Predefined library must not be extended, must not be implemented here inside these POSO classes now. Plain old Java objects. Plain classes, just a simple class. Except serialization. Okay, fine. Get my point or not? So that's why here Hibernate is less API dependent, EJBs is what they are more API dependent. Right, it's okay, fine. Next one is point number 3. Debugging and testing is very much difficult in entity beans. Wherever more API dependency is available, wherever more API is dependent, no. Wherever more API dependent is available, there we can understand debugging and testing is very much difficult. But debugging and testing is very simple in Hibernate. Debugging and testing is very simple in what they know in Hibernate. Observe this point, guys. What I'm telling to you now. Okay. This is another point here we require now. Guys, all of you are following these points or not? Simple points when I'm talking there. Okay. Right. Next one is after that. In Hibernate, sorry, in EJBs, entity beans, it is not possible to define relations between beans. But in Hibernate, we are able to define relations between entities. That means bean classes. Beans. We are able to define relations between beans. Next one here. In entity beans, one-to-one relationship is required between entity bean and a table. But in Hibernate, we are able to define any type of relation between bean and a table. Tables, beans and tables. Okay. Next one, after that, another point here I'm telling there. Already I discussed about this point here, but again I'm telling to you. Entity beans required application server, WebLogic or something else. But Hibernate doesn't require application server. It is not dependent on application server. But Hibernate is not dependent on application server. And whereas these entity beans are dependent on like what their application servers. These points here we have to understand, guys. Like this, so many points. Then basic differences here I'm telling there. Try to recognize this. NDBs are heavyweight, but Hibernate is lightweight. Entity EJBs, entity beans is more API dependent, but Hibernate is less API dependent. Debugging and testing is very much difficult in entity beans, but whereas debugging and testing is very simple in Hibernate. In entity beans, it is not possible to define relations between beans, but in Hibernate, we are able to define relations between beans. In entity beans, one-to-one relationship is required between entity beans and tables, but in Hibernate, we are able to find any type of relation between bean and tables. Right, one bean to one table, that is going to be happen in the case of what their entity beans, but one bean and multiple tables, or maybe multiple beans, one table is also be possible here in the case of Hibernate. Yeah, that we are able to manage it. Next one, entity beans required application server, but Hibernate does not require application server. So these are the various points here we have to understand about like what there the differences between entity beans. Then what next one here? No, like a Hibernate. Next one, guys. Here we are having another question here. Now try to understand this question here. What about another question now? What are the differences between, or what is the difference between JPA and a Hibernate? What's the difference between JPA and a Hibernate? Any idea, guys? What exactly the difference between JPA and a Hibernate? No. Any of you? Now tell me. Then what's the difference between JPA and a Hibernate? Any idea, guys? Okay. Yeah. Don't worry. Then I'll discuss about this point on tomorrow. Yeah, JPA is compared with any ORM model. That's okay. Nice. Good. But there are some reasons. No. Then I'll discuss about this topic on tomorrow. Tomorrow, I'll go for the Hibernate history. Then after completion of this Hibernate history, then I will go for like what there elements Hibernate architecture. I'm going to discuss there Hibernate flow and Hibernate architecture. After completion of this Hibernate architecture, then we are going to understand how to prepare Hibernate applications. Canon. The demo class are already completed, sir. Now we are discussing about like what there regular content syllabus only we are discussing there. It's not like demo class. Already we started like what their introduction classes there. Now just we are coming to the Hibernate now. Now here we are going to understand like what their Hibernate related content. Okay. Thank you guys. Thanks a lot. Till meet on tomorrow. And tomorrow I'll discuss about the difference. Then after that Hibernate architecture, all the content here we are going to understand. Don't worry. Thank you, sir. Thanks a lot. Yeah, spring class is there, guys. Then I will take the spring class today. Yeah, then within 5 to 10 minutes I'll start it. Fine.